After 5 long years, we've gotten some new boniver. The song Speyside was released a few days ago on September 20th, and there's an EP titled Sable, note the comma, slated for release about a month away on October 18th. This EP contains 4, but really actually 3 songs. Speyside, Things Behind Things Behind Things, and Award Season. My hope is to give an overview of what we know so far and how speculations have formed in the community. As a disclaimer, I really think everything you need to know is included in the press release for this album. Read that, and if you want more, watch this. Speyside used to be an unreleased song that had only been played at a couple live shows. Prior to this recent release cycle, it has been a bit of a black sheep in the boniver discography. It has the stripped-down acoustic sound of early boniver, which is different from boniver's post-2016 sound, but the lyrics are a lot more straightforward than usual. There's still some cryptic poetry like, "It serves to suffer make a hole in my foot," which in my interpretation means shooting yourself in the foot, but the song is relatively easy to unpack compared to other boniver songs. And don't take that as a judgment either, I swing both ways. There are 2 main differences between the unreleased and released versions that stand out to me. First, the released version does not have a saxophone track. Justin Vernon and Michael Lewis would kind of spar back and forth between Vernon's guitar and Lewis's sax throughout the live version, but that didn't make the cut. Instead, we hear a little viola section in the released version. Second, the lyric, "Nothing's really something, now the whole thing's soot," used to be, "Nothing's really something, now the whole thing's cooked." It seems small, but to me, soot is so much more fitting and symbolic here. The word sable has a lot of dark and black imagery, and soot just fits that aesthetic. Cooked is also present-day slang, which, I don't know, just feels wrong and kind of taints it for me. Before we get into the 2 other songs, I'd like to touch on the EP's rollout itself. First of all, from the Sable press release and Speyside, we can expect this new stuff to be a return to the roots of boniver, essentially Vernon's voice and guitar. Despite 22 A Million being an incredible album, a lot of boniver fans didn't expect that sound, to say the least. I personally think it's stupid to earnestly demand and expect more of the same art from an artist, but there have been a lot of calls for boniver to turn away from its folktronica. Although the stripped-down sound is familiar, the promotion of this album has been pretty new. We actually see Vernon. Previous releases have never been so explicit in showing the man behind the voice. With Sable, posts and profile pictures on social media, the EP press release itself, and the Speyside music video all showcase Vernon as the subject. This hasn't happened before. It's a new direction, and I'm excited to see what it means and how Vernon positions himself as the frontman. Things Behind Things Behind Things is also an unreleased song. It has only been performed once in 2020 over a live stream. Because of this, we have more information about the song than Award Season, but obviously not the whole picture. A lot can change in 4 years. For the sake of this video, I'll assume nothing has changed since the 2020 version, but you know what they say about assuming. Like Speyside, TBTBT, which is the best thing to say ever, is centered around Vernon's voice and guitar. The lyrics also point to dark imagery in their overt representations of anxiety and angst. As it's stated in the press release, creating successful works based on depression or sadness or any other bad feeling can be a dangerous job when pressure is applied. Unpacking the layers of meaning and sound and artistry is a tall task for listeners of boniver. Imagine being boniver. I think TBTBT perfectly encapsulates that struggle. I'll be honest, I don't have much for you on this one. Even the press release is vague. All it says is that Award Season was written on long walks around Lake of the Isles in Minneapolis in 2023, and that the song takes stock of a major and wrenching change. That's it. Now, if you had told me Speyside is the name of the next song boniver is going to release, I would have immediately guessed it's about whiskey. Look at what we got. That is to say, I guess Award Season is about the Grammys, but I'm probably wrong. The theme of Sable so far seems to be about unearthing guilt and exposing self-inflicted wounds in an act of healing. Did Vernon go through a period where the prospect of music awards blinded him from something else he should have valued? Or pulling on a different thread, this song title mentions seasons. Is that somehow related to the previous 4 albums' significance 2 seasons? Maybe he only felt rewarded for one of those 4 seasons. Maybe it's actually a trap banger with a hidden feature by Future and produced by Metro Boomin that proclaims Bon Iver as the next EGOT winner. Who knows? Speaking of Future and predicting the future, let's talk about what comes after Sable. It's a bit unusual to immediately speculate on a subsequent release of something that is yet to even be released, but it might be warranted here. People have rightly pointed out that the title of the EP, Sable, has a hanging comma. Commas are a core motif to Bon Iver albums. All of them have commas that are significant to the album's music. Bon Iver is an album that is heavily tied to geography, and the comma in the name is a nod towards the precision that commas offer when writing down a location. With this, it seems intentional that Sable has a comma with nothing after it. There's been 3 main schools of thought on what this means, so for the fun of it, let's assume there's more to be released after this EP. The previous 4 albums followed the sequence of the seasons. We had winter, then spring, then summer, and finally fall. What if, with Sable, we have a sequence of colors? Sable is a shade of black, and the album's aesthetic has certainly reflected that. Could there be further releases that are shades of gray, ultimately leading to a shade of white? Or some other sequence of colors that follow a similar evolutionary pattern as seasons? Let's switch gears away from multiple future releases after Sable to only one. Given that all previous Bon Iver albums have something before and after the comma in the album title, maybe Sable is the first half of a larger project like an LP. Having 8 songs on an album is not a crazy small number. Finally, some are speculating this is the end of Bon Iver. The II press release states Bon Iver album titles have always included a comma. 2 thoughts, 2 pieces. But here, there's nothing after the comma. Does that mean the second piece is nothing? Logically, it makes sense, but I think we should take this theory with a grain of salt. After all, the II press release was written years ago and applies to II, not Sable. Things could have changed. Furthermore, some discredit this idea given that there is a perfect opportunity to cap things off with a period instead of a comma. Commas denote a continuation, but periods are for endings. Why would a comma close things off? That's all I've got for now. You can expect me to be yapping my ass off as soon as this EP is released, so I'll see you in a month.